All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to Quantum Messages. Karen and Missy and Dr. Lou will be coming on soon. He'll be popping in about like 5 minutes. I'm so happy that you were able to join the show today. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Ani, and I'm so glad that you got to connect with Karen on her Frequency Friday, and we've been connecting. And Karen was on Indy's show the other day, so this is great that the knowledge and wisdom of the quantum infinity and the quantum realm is getting out there now. It's about time, long overdue.
Yep, I think people are starting to get ready to start, like really like tuning into it. It seems like the whole word quantum is taking off on multiple different levels and people are using it for everything right now. But so thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. So Karen, you are a visionary and entrepreneur and a pioneer in biofeedback technology. You've had nearly 3 decades in business and over 23 years as a successful entrepreneur. You are also the CEO of Quantum Life, and you are on a mission to spread the word about quantum infinity and empower people worldwide with cutting edge tools for better health. Missy and Dr. Lou will be coming on soon, is trained in quantum infinity and have created custom panels and has been working with Karen since 2019. So Missy and also Dr. Lou, when he comes on, will be, talking about their experience. But I'd like to first start out with you, Karen, and I would like you to tell us the story about quantum infinity and your journey over the past 3 decades. How did you get involved with it, and how did you come across this biofeedback technology?
I was inspired. My mom had breast cancer, and she unfortunately did not survive it, and she passed when she was 52. And her wish was for me to go to become a homeopath. So after she passed, I studied at the London College of Practical Homeopathy, and Dr. Robert Davidson was the principal. And that's where I met the inventor of the SKIO. And it's been given different names over the years. It's QXCI, started off as QXCI, Quantum Zeroid Consciousness Interface System. And then the SKIO, EPFX, and now it's called the Educator. It's a very expensive device. And so that's kind of leading into where the quantum infinity came in. And so we actually got married, and we have a beautiful daughter. She lives in Hawaii, in Maui, and she actually recently created a video. It's on the homepage. It's on the special packages page of the Quantum Life website, and it shows some testimonials from over the years since 2012. So, going forward a little bit, we divorced. I remarried, and in 2010, I received a transmission to create an app, and based on similar technology to the SKIO and also the Life system. I was one of the main distributors for the Life system also, which is similar to the SKIO and around the same price bracket. And so when this transmission came in, it was very clear to create something affordable and get it out to the masses, and in the form of an app. And so at that time in 2010, apps were just starting to become popular. And so we launched it in May 2011. And there's only been a few upgrades actually since the launch, because I wanted to keep the divine essence of the quantum infinity without, as we were speaking about earlier, once you get out there, things can tend to get a little corporate, which can dilute the true essence, divine essence of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So it's a beautiful tool, and I want to emphasize that it doesn't do the healing for us. We are created to do that for ourselves. It's a tool to assist and support us in that process. So it's very accurate, and we start and end with the aura scan so that people can see, the client or whoever we're working with can see the benefit of the session. And there's various modalities, various different screens, and there's a question mark at the bottom right corner of each screen to provide information about the very, that particular modality.
I'm just curious, what is the technology behind the QuantumInfinity? I think you said it's QXIEO, or am I?
Oh, QXCI, that's the Quantum Zero Consciousness Interface. And it's basically EPR, electrical physiological reactivity. We're electrical beings.
Mm-hmm.
We're working with the body's electric, and we're also working, in the spiritual realms too, because what it does, it directly relates to the high self, which translates then information to the conscious self, and that gets translated to the basic self. So we're maintaining this divine alignment where information can come in. It's a biofeedback loop,
Mm-hmm.
where we're working with the QuantumInfinity to send and receive information.
Interesting. And so how does it know? Like, how does it sense that what is going on within our physiological system?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's very intuitive. I mean, it's as if the QuantumInfinity has its own life force.
Uh-huh.
And it tunes in to our consciousness on all levels. And it gauges, where we are, where the imbalances are, and what needs to be correct. And what it basically does is harmonize. It's harmonizing. And we use it in the best way to use it is to run somebody overnight, or run ourselves overnight when we're in parasympathetic, because that's when we're truly healing, is when we're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're not subjected to stress and outside influences. We're completely relaxed. So we set it to MEP, which is integrating what we consider acute situations and underlying causes. So it will toggle between the two and address everything in between. So
interesting. And the other thing that I just wanted to ask is, I've seen you use it before, and I noticed that there's a voice technology
Yes.
that's attached to it. So
Mhm.
how does it, how do you do that? Like, it takes in the frequency of the voice and then it translates it into what's happening within the body. Is that what's going on? Or
Yeah, and also the birth information. So it establishes an energetic link with whoever we're working with, and you can't be mistaken for anyone else. Like, there's only one of you in the universe.
Right.
Once you put in your birth information, photo, voice, an energetic link is established with you, and you don't need to be attached in any way. So you can work with somebody anywhere. It doesn't matter where they are.
Right. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were saying to use it at nighttime during the parasympathetic time with state within the body.
Uh-huh.
Does a person speak into it and then let it run, and then you go to sleep and it's next to you? So there's like this biofeedback that's occurring between you and the technology, or you just need to put your voice into it and all your information, and then it runs on its own?
Yeah, it's all happening in the quantum field. So you don't need to be near the device at all.
Interesting. Very interesting.
What she's also asking is, there's something that it does called voice stress analysis. So what you're doing is, every session you don't have to take a current picture of yourself and reestablish an affirmation with your name and whatever it is that you're choosing to manifest, health-wise or otherwise. And it's going to analyze that. Karen, also talk about the Holo-linguistic programming and the energy signature of the words that are embedded into the programs that we write.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so the holo-linguistic component is using the words that we put into when we create custom panels, we're putting items into those custom panels, and each item has its own unique signature.
Mm-hmm.
And so the QuantumInfinity has an algorithm that it will use using holo-linguistics to create binary code.
Interesting. So zeros and ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does it do with the binary code? Like, how does it take that? So Holo-linguistic. So you put your voice into it, or you put an affirmation into it, and that it translates into a binary code. And then from the binary code, what's the next step? Like, how does it read that? I'm just curious about.
Yeah, well, it's really intent. It's based on, as everything is like 90% intent.
Uh-huh.
And so it's all based on intent, and the binary code is just the computer, just the logistics of how it's created, how it's programmed.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's like the physical aspect of it.
Right there. So the binary code gets translated eventually into the quantum realm. Okay.
Yes.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting. And you said there were different parts to the technology. So I remember you were showing before that, you had a panel, I think it was Missy's panel, and you were able to click on different things. And based upon what was coming up for Missy, there were certain colors that came up in the aura. And then it then led everyone that was on the call, and also Dr. Lou, to different things. And I remember Dr. Lou was like asking questions about parasites and other things. I was just wondering if you guys could speak onto that, because it's like there's the original scan, right? The aura scan. And then from there you go to all these other levels of physiological effects in the body.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So the influence is, from like parasites, viruses, bacteria, fungus, can create a lot of disturbance in the physiology. So we like to cross-reference. And as we know, a lot of these disturbances can be traced back to emotions. Like the imbalance is usually caused by, an out of a negative emotion or a negative state of being. So, and then once that negative environment is created in the body, that's when these pathogens tend to, it's like party time. I was told at homeopathic college that 1 spoon of sugar will reduce the white blood cell count by 50%, like for an hour. And so that time, the environment is perfect for these pathogens to do that, do what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, are you able to screen share, or Ani with Karen?
I can. Let me see. So I think I have 4 of you guys up now. Karen, if you want to present something, you might be able to put it on. Some of us might have to like pop off of the visual screen itself, but we'll see if Karen can do it.
Okay.
And you might well introduce Dr. Lou now, because he's on. He's also my father.
Yeah, let's do Dr. Lou. Dr. Lou, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming in. I introduced you, and I said that you and Missy have been trained under QuantumInfinity, and that you have been working on creating custom panels. And Dr. Lou, are you a homeopath or a naturopath?
I'm a naturopath, and also I've studied homeopathy.
So were you using this for your patients, and when you learned about it and trained under it?
Yeah, I became excited about it because I designed supplements for companies, network marketing companies. I would develop their products, but I didn't really want to be involved in the marketing part of it. But I needed some type of a way other than muscle testing to show people how the efficacy of the products that I designed. And the QuantumInfinity came with an aura camera. So it was a no-brainer for me. I began to use it, and then Karen and I got to be close. And we've developed, I guess between us, Karen, over 100.
So we were with Dr. Lou. Dr. Lou was talking about, I don't know if you can talk right now, Dr. Lou, but you were talking about how you use this for your patients, and that you felt that it was very useful because it had the aura, and you were able to design multiple different custom panels. Can you, Dr. Lou, talk about the custom panels that you designed? Like, what are they for, and how did you use them?
Ani, we use them for all different types of maladies. The first one that I designed was very simple. I think it was only 6 or 7 ingredients, But this was back in the time, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when there was an epidemic, at least a perceived epidemic going on around the country. And I was involved with a group of alternative health professionals down there in St. Augustine, or the St. Augustine area of Florida. I was down there for a little while visiting another doctor, and we collaborated and came up with the alternative medical doctors came up with basically the same supplements that I had come up with. The only difference was that I did it in the quantum field, and I didn't do it in the physical field. So we got similar results. I mean, we had really, really good results. So as we did that, Donnie, I moved on to other areas, and Karen or Missy or whatever might be able to give you some of the names of the different panels that I wrote. I've did it for hair loss. I've done it for eyesight. I've done it for basically blood pressure and blood sugar, all different types of things. And we've had pretty good results. I mean, real good results, I would say. Even on animals, I almost prefer to work on animals because you don't get any negative feedback from an animal. So
Like
you only get positive feedback. I saw, Missy, you popped up a cat there a minute ago. Was that mine or yours?
Oh, I had Arthur and Toby up there, so they're both in this.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, I get to see him again tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
What other questions, Ani? I mean, I think I've done about 100 different what we would call panels.
I was just wondering how long it takes to work, how long it took to work on your patients, because since you were in practice, and when do you start seeing the results of the panels starting to work for them?
Well, again, you may work on it. I did everything mostly remote. I mean, I very, very infrequently would see somebody in person. So the work that I did was more of design work and research, and then other people used the work that I did to work with their clients or their patients more one on one.
You guys should talk about the horse. What happened with the horse's eye?
Oh yeah. Karen contacted me. This is several years ago about, I think it was her daughter's horse, Wyatt. Wyatt got. We're sitting here, Missy, in Hot Springs at the medical clinic right now. So we I asked what happened. The horse had one eye that appeared to be white, and what happened was and I think Karen can supply you with these pictures. The horse got kicked in the eye and was in danger, according to the vets, of losing that eye. So we didn't want to give up quite so quickly, and I designed or put together, fabricated a panel for eyesight for that eye in particular, and began to run it on Wyatt. And within how many days, Karen? Was it 3 days? We had positive results. I can't remember
It was phenomenal, yeah. And we had a pet psychic that was communicating with Wyatt, and then letting us know what he was saying. And when we got the vet, we have the best horse place here, horse hospital here in the country, Alamo Pentada. And they did everything they could to save his eye, and they gave up. They couldn't do it. And then we started working on him, and 3 days later, they said it was like a miracle. Yeah, that like they just couldn't understand how all of a sudden his eye was healing and he could keep his eye. So this pet psychic said that Wyatt had asked us to thank the doctor that created whatever it was that healed his eye. And still to this day, like it makes me want to cry, because the thought of him losing his eye was devastating, and we were all so happy.
So there's a scientific strategy then to creating the panels and then distributing them out based upon the symptom of the patient or the client, right?
Yeah, they're specific. They're specifically created for either a condition or a person. We've all created custom panels for people, specifically for conditions, and for, I don't know if I can say this on the call, but I know we were talking about this after the other interview that we did recently with Indy, to assist and support the and reduce the devastation from fires and any disasters.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, we can also do house blessings. You put a photo of the house, or work with a family. If there's disharmony in a family, and we've had so much success over the years with, probably saved some marriages.
Wow. So do the clients reach out to you after you do your the whole thing, the panel, run the panel and all that stuff? Do they reach out to you afterwards? I'm sure they're in connection with you, and that's part of the whole process. And so they're able, based upon their what happens in their life, so they're giving you feedback on how it's actually working.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're encouraging that people do this for themselves.
Right.
So they have their own quantum infinity, and they work on themselves and their loved ones and their situations, because it's all about self-healing.
Yeah,
Right.
and you also healed yourself with from a 3rd-degree burn with, I guess, mostly just the quantum affinity and some lavender oil. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
What happened?
Unfortunately, I was in a situation where a candle fell over onto my hand, and it was a 4th-degree burn. And I thought, oh, my skin will never be the same again. Well, it is. It's completely healed. Yeah.
Wow.
And so Dr. Lou very quickly created a custom panel for burns. And not only did it help me, it helped a lot of other people too.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I just want to ask Dr. Lou really quick, and then we're going to move over to Missy. I want to talk about the pets. Dr. Lou, I just wanted to ask you how do you know how to create a panel for that? Like, what is the process that you go through for it? Just for example, with the burn panel, how did you know what to create, and what do you do?
There's a lot of things available. Let me just maybe give you an idea how my interpretation how the quantum infinity works. This is in the quantum field. Everything is information, and so if we can provide the body or the animal body or whatever it might be, or even plant, with the right information, then the entity or the organism is going to know what to do with it. So with the quantum infinity, you cannot overdose. I mean, there's no contraindications. It bypasses the circulatory system, it bypasses the digestive system, and that information goes to work right within the cell. So I guess your question is, how do I know what to use? I do a lot of research, and my background is of course naturopathic, but I also have a degree in as a master herbalist. So I know a lot about different types of herbs, and at least our herbs, Western, not so much Eastern. I have to learn more about that. But you can use all of these different things. And as I heard in the very beginning, you're going to take that information and convert it from language into a binary code, which actually feeds an algorithm, and that algorithm puts everything back out into the quantum field. And since there's only one of you, and we identify you with several different steps, that goes directly to you no matter where you are. We talked earlier about quantum entanglement and all of these other types of things. Well, it's all part of it. So it really deserves more of a discussion, maybe even in person, perhaps sometime, where we can get questions. We get questions from the people who might want to become involved. With Karen in the hand, it was a bad burn. And I was shocked when I looked at it that it was that bad. And I never expected, I thought she would for sure lose at least the top layer of her skin. But as she's told me, and I haven't seen her in person since, but it's all come back. And I'm anxious to come out there and see it, because I think these are incredible testimonies. I think the future, Ani, lies in energetic type of medicine. And I believe we're going to see more and more of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Do you think that, just one more question, do you think that we have had this technology in the past and we have forgotten it, and then we're starting to remember now?
Well, it's working with the divine intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So we're tapping, it's giving us an opportunity to tap into the divine intelligence and work with it. It's a divine tool. So it knows how to do that. Who knows? You know, there might be a higher being that's working with the technology and brought it in for us all to work with and to help each other and to help, whatever needs to be helped.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
My take on that, Ani, you asked that question, was, what do I think?
Yeah.
I think that we've had this information all along, and we've lost it because, at this point, the quantum infinity is a bridge. Okay, I think at some point in the future we're going to be able to do it without the bridge. We'll be able to do it by ourselves, and we all. I mean, although we are here, talking about the quantum infinity, we're heading in that direction. We're not there yet. So we have to take the steps at first, the baby steps, to get to the larger steps. And we're going to talk more about this. And I think Karen and I, I'm hoping to see her this summer. If that happens, then we'll talk more about the future and, what we can do to make it even easier for people to access this really good information.
Yeah, we don't want people to be dependent on the tool. We want people to use the tool to tap into our own divine essence and what we're capable of, what we've been created to do for ourselves.
Right. It's very in line with the message that I'm trying to get as well. Yeah, that sounds more. It sounds empowering. Empower the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Missy, I wanted to talk to you because I know that you use this a lot. I'm curious some of the panels that you have created, and then also you really wanted to talk about how you use it for pets specifically.
Yes, that's correct. I also want to give a disclaimer and a little bit of my background because you probably don't know. Everybody knows me as Missy, the Indigo 1 type grid worker, but now we're talking about the Indigo 2 type healer, and then the Indigo 3 obviously is the polarity integrator. But first of all, the disclaimer is none of us on this call are diagnosing, treating, or prescribing anything. This is a theoretical practice for entertainment and educational purposes only. So remember that. Consult your doctor or whoever you need to consult, okay? Because, and also none of us really are broken. So that's important. I was also a licensed massage and bodywork therapist. And before that, I did go through some of the naturopathic schooling and was a Reiki master. And for my radio show, I was the Galactic Shaman, but I just never finished it. Kind of life got in the way. And I figured the thing to do was, besides having a ministerial license, was to have a licensed massage and bodywork therapist license in the state of Western North Carolina for hands-on. So that's how I did a lot of my things, when I even made, some herbs and flower essences and essential oil blends. What's great about this is you still use things, but you can amplify those, say, young living oils and doTERRA oils, which are quite expensive. We can use them in the quantum field, as well as flower essences, homeopathics, and all this stuff. Rife. You can use rife on its own, or you can also use rife and spooky too, and write that stuff into these programs. So the reason I got so interested in pets is, at one time, I'm called the crazy cat lady. And at one time I actually had 7 cats. Then it went down to 6. I had a pet squirrel that we rescued, and I had 11 hens and 1 rooster in Fletcher. Okay. And Western North Carolina, we know we're under weather assaults and weather attacks from the aerosol sprays that should not be going on. The weather's supposed to be cool here, and being in a rainforest, it's not supposed to really have a flea problem. And my cats got fleas, and I just could not get rid of the fleas. I tried everything. I mean, it started with, I used to use the Dr. Mercola flea collars, and I have a flea comb, and I would wash them in Dawn dish soap, and I would use, lemon juice, and I do essential oils for animals. I do all these things. I pick the fleas off and kill them. And I tried the front line, because when my cats really didn't go to the vet much because they're healthy, and we don't want to give them certain things like they give humans, because that's not good for them either. Sometimes if you fix them, you do have to do that one time to get them fixed. And I do agree with fixing. I think, we're in the forced breeder program here with these animals, and they're happier. So I was trying everything. Nothing was working. I got to the point I was running rife frequencies for fleas. I would kill fleas and I would put them on wishing machines. So I'd like squeeze a dead flea off of each cat, and I would tape them to the wishing machine, which is a radionics box, and set it. And I'd even write, like, I would call them banishing spells, because it was a curse. Like, I banish these fleas into oblivion. I absolutely tried everything. Then I also, decided when I had less cats, I would have to just go to the vet and get them on one round of stuff, to kill everything for 90 days. Because, even like taking you have to be careful with giving them, like Hilda Clark, there's what is it? The wormwood. I'm trying to think. It's clove, wormwood, and one other ingredient, black walnut. You can give that to cats. You got to be careful with that with cats, probably. On homeopathic, you can do anything. But, I tried a lot of things and just none of it was working. And I decided, since I'm working with the QuantumInfinity anyway, why not start writing all the good stuff and a little bit of the bad stuff that we call imponderables, which is just information, which is like your Cheriston collar, or any of these, or maybe that's the stuff you put on the back of the neck. I can't remember, because every year they're changing what that is. So Karen's going to show that panel in a little bit, some of the ingredients in that panel, and all the affirmations that the pet is actually sovereign and is choosing not to be run with parasites. It doesn't want energetic or physical parasites. Physical parasites were first energetic. So we don't want any of those entities coming into our body. And on the physical level, they come in through the gallbladder meridian. So we want to cancel, clear, and collapse and dissolve all parasites and anything, fleas, chiggers, worms, all of it. And I developed this, and for some reason it works. I'm like, and then I decided I'm going to start treating the yard too for mosquitoes, and that seems to work. Now, I haven't 100% tested that, and I also will not make any claims for heartworms. That's a separate thing. I'm not going to go there with the heartworm thing, because that can be a very serious issue. But I'm saying for fleas, ticks, and look, always comb your animal. Whenever you go out and you're around deer and things, always check their fur to wipe them down. But they won't need and comb them. But you won't need to be taking the harmful substances anymore, because I'm writing them in to these panels. After one time getting the fleas off, however you get them off, you do want to get them off of the animal, and then they just don't come back when the frequency of their body has been built up, through a nice, healthy, clean diet and maybe some probiotics. That they seem to be fine. Arthur doesn't get fleas anymore. And then another thing I developed for older cats is, because when cats are older, and this can also be for dogs too, is they need a lot of hydration. So I wrote in adding the sub-Q fluids, because I actually had to learn this with my cat Soda, where you have to stick a needle under their neck and give them IV for the fluids to bring them back. I run this on Toby, and I check his skin, and it goes back, and it seems to make them want to drink more water. Now, I also do put like Celtic or Himalayan salt in their water too, to make these formulas and all the stuff in the quantum field work better by adding, clean water with salt. It's like a carrier for they're taking in the quantum field, and it's amazing. It's just brilliant. So yeah, there's a lot of categories in the custom panel for, rife frequency, for the solfeggio tones, different uh different essential oils and things that you would treat the yard with, as well as, not only the Dr. Mercola flea collars, but the Frontline and the Advantage, and some of the ones that aren't so good, because you know what? The quantum field recognizes this as information, and the intention is to get rid of parasites, fleas, ticks, and the larva and the whole life cycle that the animal, as a free will sovereign being, does not want on them.
Yeah, so it makes it safe. So working in the quantum field, you can put anything in that custom panel,
Right.
It's safe. And then we don't always have access to like essential oils, the essential oils that we may need. So by using them in the quantum field, we don't need to have them physically.
And it picks what's needed. So if it needs Wondercide, it'll pick that. If it needs Paragize, which is one of the Young Living oils, it'll pick that. If it needs a Frontline flea collar, or that stuff that you squeeze, it'll pick that. If it needs lemon juice, it'll pick that. If it needs diatomaceous earth, it'll pick that. That's the way it works.
Interesting.
And you'll see it in the high and low numbers of whether it's an acute problem or it's a chronic problem, which is the lower numbers.
Mm-hmm. So chronic is lower numbers and acute means high.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
That's
and so
what's newest. The newest thing is high, and the chronic is that underlying problem that's like been going on and remanifests as something else, It's usually the root cause of a lot of issues.
Interesting. So Karen, I think I was funny when you were talking, Missy, and then Karen, I'll go to you, but I just want to mention this about parasites. And the in-between state for me, when I was in that hypnagogic state, I've had dreams where I've pulled worms or like parasites out of my skin, which is like I was like doing like psychic like surgery or something to myself. And I've done this. This has happened to me a couple times. One time I was pulling worms out of my hand. Another time it was out of my belt, like my third chakra area. So yes, I do believe like, there are those parasites hanging out in the astral and also the quantum realm. Then they're ready to, get on at any time. So it's really interesting how it's helping the cats. I want to test it out on my cats and dogs.
Absolutely. And see, Indigo Angel, who we all know and are friends with and is our sister in our community, does fabulous physical, in the physical, even though it's energetic work. She does something called implant and seal removal, like Jehovian seal removal or Draco seal removal. And I've had these done. And, even though you have these things done, you always have to clean your energy field, and the stuff comes back. So what I've done is go have your physical session with her. But what I've done for maintenance is writing this stuff into the quantum field, like writing these parts. And if you say you have the seal, at your aorta area, or, those Jehovian seals are on the left side of the body. So, or if it's in the knee area or wherever it is, it'll show you the areas you need to work, and you can also scan yourself with your gallbladder meridian. That's in there too, because we all need to, what's the beauty of the quantum infinity. It's like it takes radionics and all these other modalities to the next level, where even radionics will hold your intention for one wish or thing that you want to manifest, right? You set it, you put your picture of yourself or the thing you want to manifest. You have the two plates, the stick plate, the input plate, and the output plate, and that will hold your intention through automated sympathetic resonance. So you can think of what's for dinner and your to-do list of whatever you have to do. This takes it to the next level, where it holds multiple intentions for you that you can't hold, and you're running it while you're sleeping, in that alpha and data, parasympathetic states. So your body can actually heal on multiple layers.
Super interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, you guys mentioned Rife. Are you using Rife technology in the system?
I have written Rife in. Yes.
There's a separate Rife app, but we also do put Rife frequencies. We create those. We put those in the custom panels. We type them in. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Because if we know what the frequency is for, and we don't even have to know what it is, we could just say Rife frequency for a specific disharmony in the body. We want to put in a Rife frequency for that, or we want to put a solfeggio tone. Another interesting thing is too, when this comes up in the balance of either the Balance RX, the multi-layer, or the MEP, when you're done, it'll come up with what's called a 528 hertz love stimulation. It'll say love stim, and that's how I know when it's done. But I'll continue to run that on a love stem, and sometimes I don't just run it overnight. Sometimes I let it run for a couple days and just keep it on that love stem to really anchor it in that person's field. I also do it that way.
So I think what would be a good thing is for us we're going to transition over to Zoom, and then we will, and then we can wrap it up there so that you can explain how the technology works. Okay. So I'm going to end the recording now, and then we'll edit.